Welcome to the channel Spain Unlocked. My name is Anna and this is the Spain News Update. Hundreds of thousands of properties will be left behind and will not be available for purchase or long-term rent starting from 2030 in Spain. So many restrictions have been put in place, but as for now, touristic apartments in Spain are still growing in numbers. What is actually going on, and if it's actually as easy to get a touristic license nowadays and purchase a property as an investment in Spain. Spain is passing through a second and the most difficult by now heat wave this year, and it's been the longest heat wave too. What is happening and what is Spain planning to do, especially in our region of Valencian community, to make sure that people know how to react, what to do, and how to behave when the heat wave is coming starting from next summer. If you're willing to know slightly more about any or all of these three latest Spanish news, stay tuned up until the end. Spain right now is experiencing this second heat wave of this year. This is its biggest heat wave, the longest one. The highest temperatures are recorded right now. First one was just in June month, and before that we've had hot days, but to be considered a heat wave, it has to be at least through several consecutive days. And this wasn't the case a lot of the times, but now it actually is. Second one this year, but also the strongest one. We thought it will end up this Sunday. However, it will be here up until this Wednesday, Thursday, and our Spanish Meteorology Center still says that it is more than probable that the temperatures will keep rising even past this Thursday. So it's not even the worst part of the heat wave just yet. Some regions of Spain, and as you can see here on the map, it is all covered in red and intense colors. This is because there's really high temperatures, and the real feel, even here on Costa Blanca, in Benidorm, around it, in Alicante, it's almost 40 degrees. But there's worse. There's South Spain, Andalusia as usual, Cordoba, Granada. All these areas do have more than 40 degrees right now. So that is probably where it is the worst. But locals technically are used to it and know how to survive. Apart from that, even though people know how to survive with these heat waves and what to do, the government is thinking on to issue alerts, the same as they do for the floods and intense electric storms, etc., intense rain. They are planning to register it for the heat waves too, which means that we usually receive an SMS, like a typical message on the phone, an alert that is stating what is going on, how severe it is, which level of alert it actually is, and what can you do, the recommendations. So the same is going to be issued for these heat waves. Usually, and the most important thing, what we do is first, drink a lot of water. Staying hydrated is the most important thing. Coffees, alcohol, juices do not count. Water. Water is the most important thing. Or electrolyte like drinks for that have minerals inside. This also does help quite a lot. And apart from that, avoid intense sunshine, stay in the shade, use sun hats, don't go outside in peak hours when there's extreme heat. And obviously, if you don't need to, don't go outside. Stay by the pool, stay by the sea, in the shade with some cold water. People dehydrate real quick with heat waves. So all this usually will be put in place in the alert too. So it's good because not a lot of people watch news daily, not a lot of people read newspapers daily, not all of them watch TV or are informed. So getting an alert saying, hey, it's an orange alert in your area, stay safe, these are the recommendations. I do feel like, especially for older generations, this will be really good. Let us know if in your area you have something like this or something similar. We do have it for floods and for some extreme measures, yes, but it wasn't adapted for a heat wave, which now it probably will be, which I do feel like it's very good to know. The second news that I wanted to share with you all is about the restrictions for the touristic apartments. For all those of you who are maybe thinking of investing in a property here or use it temporarily as a short-term rent as a touristic rent up until you will retire, and then you will use it as your future home here in the sunny Spain. But it is not as easy nowadays. Before, it was quite easy. You just had to find a property that already had a license. That was the perfect case scenario. And you just purchased it, and automatically your property had a touristic license because it was there already. It was assigned to the property previously. Or you could still purchase it. You could check it with the agent, and if it's fine, if they would say that they can get you the license, you were good to go. Nowadays, it's not like this. And many municipalities in many towns and villages stopped for everyone the issuing of brand new licenses because there are so many of these and people just do not have an option to get a long-term rent, like a yearly rental for families who live in the area, because everything is short term or everything is winter rentals from September to June. There is no actual way for people to live here the whole year long because there's no apartments or houses for rent for a whole year. That is how it is. And to try to manage the situation, many municipalities stopped, and even for renovations they're slightly more strict. There's new measures. For example, it has to be an independent entrance. In some municipalities you have to have your own private parking or an independent street entrance. It has to be not forbidden in the official document from the community of neighbors. They have to allow you to actually have a touristic rent out there. So it's not as easy, but even so, at least 16 new touristic accommodations are rising up every single day here in the area. And from January to July month, we've had 3,391 new properties with a touristic license, which is not a small number. And taking into consideration that there are so many restrictions, things are not impossible. It is more difficult and you have to search for specific types of properties, yes, but it is possible also, yes. You just need to be cautious about which property do you choose, and for this case it is always great to contact the experts. And obviously we can help you out with either long-term rent search or property search for investment as your future home, as a vacational home for your family, and many more things, including residence permits, private health insurance, and much more. And you have our contact details here along the video every now and then popping up, and also in the description down below. We'll be more than happy to help you out in our migration consulting company. We're waiting for you. And obviously, it is important to get the actual professional opinion, to check out all the documents, the debt, and all of this. But it is actually a possibility. And all this is happening when people cannot take it any longer, when there's so many issues with properties here, with long-term properties, families willing to live where they've been living a whole life, but without any possibility to purchase or rent long-term. People are just heading elsewhere because there are so many touristic apartments, there are so many temporary rentals. People just don't have where to live any longer in the place where they've been living for the past many years, at least a decade or a decade. So touristic rentals still a possibility, more difficult, yes, but still a valid option. Let's continue with the last news, and it is about thousands and dozens and hundreds and probably millions of properties that will be impossible to sell or rent out long term, and probably maybe even short term, we'll see, in 2030 if property owners will not change them, revamp them, and renew them and refurbish them. This is due to the fact that European Union, they always have this agenda. They've been giving different instructions, and this is why also Benidorm, Alicante, and many cities around, they've closed down some of the streets. They've created a pedestrian priority access, emissions neutral areas, so many solar panels, and overall just make the area greener in a sense. And all this comes from European Union too, the funds and everything. It is necessary to do so. So now European Union also has some specific requirements for the properties, and all those property owners who will not change anything in the energetic certificate of their property will not be able to sell it any longer or even rent it out. How does this work? Whenever you purchase a property for rentals, it wasn't the case, but now probably it will be. But for property purchase, whenever you purchase a property, it is obligatory to get the energy certificate. This is a document that doesn't serve for much, honestly, because as soon as you change one appliance or energy saving light bulbs or LED lights, or you change a dishwasher, you change one window, it doesn't serve for anything because it's different already. It's not the same category anymore. And even so, it is a requirement. It is a requirement for the attorney, for everyone to be able to sign the property purchase contract and actually become the new owner. So if the owner wants to sell an old property that has a very, very low certificate, which is like starting from D probably, or maybe E, F, G, H, like the second half of the certificate, he won't be able to do so. He will need obligatory to change things inside of the property to get a higher graded and rated certificate, so that he would be able to actually do something with the property. And obviously and honestly, this is going to be a little issue for some people. Some people don't have the money to do so, and they will try their best to somehow get it or sell it just like that. But if this is going to be the law, and it will be starting from 2030, people will need to start doing refurbishments to the properties, and there's not going to be any destroyed properties on the market that you could revamp and get a big profit. Maybe that's also the reason why they're doing it, like a hidden reason, because nowadays you can find many properties that are so old, you need to literally just take everything down and leave like a skeleton without nothing, not even walls, to actually redo it from scratch. But it's not going to be possible from 2030. So these are the last 5 years that it is actually a possibility. And afterwards, even some renewal will be needed to sell it out, which is great for the new property owners too, by the way. But obviously, it will increase prices then of these properties, because these are not going to be old anymore. These will be renewed, and the owner will wants to regain this money that he spent on the refurbishment. So this is something that will be interesting to see in 5 years. We will set a reminder, and in 5 years, we'll see each other here back again, and we'll see what is actually going on. But so far, this is the only thing that we know about this giant plan in 5 years. Thank you for accompanying us in today's latest Spain news update. Wish you a great day, and we'll see you here on the channel very, very soon. Goodbye.